That fish came right where I'm standing, about 10 yards in front of me on the Wacky Worm. And a lot of you guys who fish rivers and fish creeks probably roll their eyes at the fact that I'm using a Wacky Worm right now. But it was a really good technique to use in waters like this, because not a lot of people think to throw a Wacky Worm, a traditional lake largemouth technique, in a small creek where you're targeting smallmouth. The thing is it's very subtle, and in this clear water, throwing something that's subtle can sometimes go to your advantage and can increase the amount of fish that you catch. These fish have seen cranks, they've seen, you know, curl-tailed grubs, but not a whole lot of them have seen a Wacky Worm. And the reason why I throw this is because I usually tend to fish for smallmouth in a finesse manner, and I really can't throw a drop shot in this water. You know, there's some spots near Logan, Ohio that I can throw the drop shot, but it's just not as effective if I were to throw something like this. And it's just a weightless Wacky Worm rig. And the Gary Yamamoto worm is just about the best one to throw on this rig because it's got all that heavy salt in it. Or if you have another worm that has a lot of heavy salt in it too, try using that, because the salt allows it to sink a lot faster against this current, and you still have that finesse of just the light wire hook and the subtle presentation. You can use weighted jig heads, and I do use that a lot, and I do have success with it, but in some of the slower moving water, when the water is down, I like to completely eliminate that tactic and just throw a straight hook, just a regular hook with no weight on it. You know, the water is down by, I don't know, 1.5 feet maybe a little less than that, but when it's like that, the current's not as strong usually, and you have a lot skinnier water, so you don't have to worry about getting that bait down as fast. So we're going to see if I can catch another one here, but that fish really was aggressive. I mean, as soon as it hit the water, I gave it a couple twitches, and he was on it. Just a really good strike, right on the roof of the mouth where it was supposed to be as well. But I think it's starting to cool down a little bit, actually. This storm is moving out, and just the clouds are rolling in. So I'm hoping to get some cooler weather here in a little bit, and I think that these fish are starting to get used to some of this cool water that's moving in. So I know I talked a lot about conditions and what to look for when you're targeting smallmouth or any kind of bass species in a stream or creek or river. But I wanted to talk specifically where you can target these fish. And along with that, a really quick one to go over what I use. First of all, what you want to bring with you if you're on a creek like this, and if you're really committed and serious into fishing this, is you want to get yourself a nice pair of waders. These were like 60 bucks. I need these for class anyways. So, you know, I mean, these weren't that bad. I got these boots right here, which I use for ice fishing and stuff like that. Those are a little bit more expensive. They're around $70, $80. But these boots are so durable, I can get good traction on them. You want a boot that has a lot of traction, because Lord knows what's under the water. You got the muddy banks, which are really slippery, and you always got to keep in mind that you don't want to slip and hurt yourself, especially if you're out here by yourself like I am today. Dress appropriately. It's really hot today, so I didn't wear a whole lot of like a long sleeve shirt or anything like that. It would just be pointless considering you're already hot in the waders yourself. So dress appropriately if you're going to go on a river system like this or creek system like this, and always be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you have phone service. Make sure you're letting someone know that you're out in the creek or the river, just for safety reasons. But all that aside, a really quick one to talk about the setup. The setup I'm using is a Dobyns 6'9" drop shot rod. It's got a very nice tip to it, and I like this tip because I can determine what's current and what's bite really easily with this Dobyns rod, and this tip right here is real soft. Made perfectly for drop shot fishing, but it works great for the Wacky Worm. I'm using 10-pound fluorocarbon, a little unnecessary, but for the type of fishing that I'm doing, I like to get way up under branches and way into the thick stuff. So I want something that's a little bit heavier than 8 or 7, so I can yank some of those tough fighting smallmouth out of that cover and into my hands. So 10 is a little unnecessary, but I just do it just to be a safeguard. The reel I'm using is a Pinnacle Matrix. It's like a $40 reel. It's really inexpensive, but this thing kicks butt, and it's an awesome reel. And it's got a huge spool on it too, which I like, and I can fit a lot of 10-pound tests on here. And that's basically it for the equipment. Like I said, Gary Yamamoto Senkos. I'm using an offset EWG hook right here because it's a little bit bigger. I like the bigger hook, gives it a little bit of a faster drop against this current. But that's the equipment. I really quick wanted to point out a few things in this creek, especially in this area, that are helping me catch fish. And if you haven't noticed, I just got hit with a whole lot of rain here a little bit, so I'm probably going to pack it up soon. But I really quick want to take a moment and show you where to find these fish, specifically around your local creek or river system. You know, one other thing you want to keep an eye out for when you're fishing is to look for pockets. We've got this big reed patch right here, this huge reed field, and right behind this is a little pocket. And a lot of people think, you know, that's just shallow water, there's nothing in it. But this starts to begin the backside of the reeds, and a lot of time there's slack water back here, no current at all. So if you've got a few lazy fish that don't like to be in this intense current, they'll be back there either just resting, hanging out, basking in the sun, or feeding sometimes, because the bait fish will come in through these reeds and they'll come in some of the slack water. As soon as I came over here, bait fish just started flooding out of this area. None over there because the current is too strong, but bait fish get pushed into these reeds. The reeds go all the way back here and stop in the slack water. So it's almost like a circulation system for the bait fish. You know, it's not going to happen in every body of water, but I find in the Hocking it's really prevalent. You know, I see it a lot. I see the bait fish coming. They come through the reeds, and as soon as I come over here, there's bait fish. So I got to believe that they're circulating in and out through here. And you'll sometimes find an oddball smallmouth back there, and sometimes it can be a pretty decent one too. I've always caught fish and stuff like this, and it's really never let me down, especially if it's deeper water, somewhere around 2 to 3 feet deep is perfect for looking for a larger smallmouth. You know, along with reeds and slack water, we have a lot of these boulders here in the Hocking River, and these things are just enormous. And this one is just a lone boulder, but up over there where I've actually gotten a few decent bites are just stockpile of these big rocks. And you'll find a lot of crawdads hiding under here, and the smallmouth will actually get up under some of those creases under the rocks and peck at the smallmouth, or peck at the crawdads and the crayfish and try to get at them. But you know, they'll also hold bait fish as well. But these boulders always seem to have a lot of life around them too. Always seem to have smallmouth, especially in deeper water, around 4 to 5 feet deep. I don't really find these big rocks in really shallow water. This is actually surprised to see it in about, I'd say there's about 3 to 2 feet of water right here. But rocks and boulders, you know, you've got a little bit of rock right here and a boulder right here. And if this was in about 4 to 3 feet of water, I could almost guarantee that there's going to be a decent smallmouth chilling around here. It doesn't mean it's going to bite, but there's going to be one down there hanging out. Now over here, we've got a mixture of boulder and brush. And brush usually, for most people, when they hear the word brush, they think of largemouth. You know, they think of smallmouth when they hear rock piles, riprap, and stuff like that. But oh, there's a smallmouth right there. You see him? Anyways, that came right out. I mean, it just goes to show that there is really no space to hide under here. But he was chilling out right under there. It was about a 12-inch smallmouth. Never leave an area that looks good untouched, because you never know what's hiding in those little nooks and crannies. But getting back to what I was saying, brush and rock are just about the 2 best combinations you can put together to find smallmouth. It's the best of both worlds, especially when you've got it in a clear, cool area like this with fast moving current. This is like the prime. This is really the best situation as to where there's another one right there. That might be a sucker. Anyways, but this is the best kind of situation where you can find smallmouth, and usually, like the slack water, there's going to be some bigger ones, and they'll be clumped up more. I could name several instances where I've pulled up on a spot like this in a little bit of deeper water, and there's just a bunch of smallmouth. It's a cloud of smallmouth, 4 to 6 to, you know, even 10 1 pound plus smallmouth, just all congregated in a condensed area where there's brush and rock, and they just seem to hang out there. I don't know if it's because of the bait or if it provides structure. It's just their habit, but they usually hang out in areas where there's a combination of brush and rock. And over here we have just a perfect example of a laydown that starts in shallow water and ends up in some deeper water. If you can see, this isn't exactly really shallow water. You know, it drops off pretty substantially. So look for that. Don't just pass it up. Even if it's in a little bit of shallow water, get a couple casts. Doesn't mean you have to work the whole thing all day, but just cast at it, you know, 2 to 3 times, maybe less than that. Just give it 1 cast, and you may surprise yourself. But look for this, especially because you can tell that this bank is deep just by looking above the water right there. you can see it's very steep, and over there too it's very steep, and actually right there is a really good spot, just a bunch of rock and brush right there where I picked out that one smallmouth. But that's about it as far as looking for specifics in a creek and trying to target those smallmouth without blindly casting into an open body of water. Thanks for watching today's episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. You know, I really wanted to get out and share this beautiful scenery with you and just kind of share what this river has to offer. I'm going to be making plenty more videos. This is just the first to come, and I'm super excited that the water is really low because it'll make for good fishing in the fall. Hopefully, I'm having my fingers crossed. But like I said in the past video, if you guys are in the Ohio area near Hawking, Nelsonville, Logan, or just in Ohio in general, like Columbus or something like that, shoot me a message, because I love to come fish in your area, maybe film something like that. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I don't have a vehicle as of now. Should get one soon, but once I do that, I'll be traveling around the Ohio area and doing a lot of fishing, and I'll be filming a lot at the hatchery as well, coming up, and some really exciting stuff that I'm not going to tell you right now, but some exciting stuff is coming on the way, and just stay tuned, because I'm sure you guys are really going to look forward to it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time on Fishing Midwest.